Jane and I are honored that the Pennsylvania Environmental Council has recognized the work that we have been privileged to be a part of for the past 3.5 decades. And I say a part of because, yes, in many cases, we were the leaders of different projects, but just as much at PHS, we're part of a team of great thinkers and dreamers and doers that make up PHS staff. And sometimes we even had to be good soldiers when somebody else was leading a project and they said, Jane or Blaine, you've got to do this, and you have to do that. I recall Ernesta Ballard, who some of you may remember, was president before Jane, and she hired me. And when she retired, she gave me a plaque that I think symbolizes leadership, and that is, a good leader knows how to follow. So what changes has the city undergone in the last 3.5 decades? I think they've been enormous. So when I came on board at PHS in 1974, Philadelphia was in the beginning or in the middle of the big slide. We had neighborhoods that were falling apart or melting, and we had had a lot of demolition through urban renewal in the late 60s. Crime was rampant. The downtown was often deserted and disheveled. Abandonment was everywhere, and the city was hemorrhaging population. 1974, PHS had 13 staff people. You heard now it has over 100, 115. Actually, Pennsylvania Environmental Council was 4 years old. And we worked out of a basement at PHS, initially 2 of us and later 4 of us, to start to help communities organize to grow vegetables on vacant lots. And what fertile ground there was in those communities. And it's because there was such a lack of hope that here was something that people could organize around and feed themselves. And in addition, most of the leaders that we worked with many of them were African Americans who had grown up in the South and had come north for jobs in the 50s, or Latinos from Puerto Rico from an agrarian background. So it really took off, and it shows that the seeds of greening in Philadelphia started in the very poorest of Philadelphia neighborhoods. And you can see now that it is such a vigorous movement across the city, and it now is looked at, greening is looked at as integral to the future success and dynamic of the city of Philadelphia. So people who know either Jane or me know that we don't wear our organizational accomplishments on our lapels. But this process of preparing for, and I hate to use the word retirement, so I'm thinking of it as graduation. About PHS, where our hearts and souls have dwelled for so long, gave us an opportunity to look back and see what we thought was important and what projects and progress have been made. So, again, with apologies from Jane because she was unable to be here, I want to show you very briefly what we're proud of for the last many years. And these accomplishments aren't the accomplishments of Jane or me. And they're actually not even just the accomplishments of PHS. They are the accomplishments of the collaborative partnerships that we have with many of the people in this audience. Thousands of PHS volunteers, thousands of community residents and community development organizations, nonprofit intermediary partners like PEC, city government, corporate citizens and institutions and individuals who invested in what we do. So my wonderful assistant for many years, Joseph Prouty, is going to do the magic, and we'll quickly run through to show you what we think are some of the great accomplishments. You heard about the flower show. In 1974, it was a 4-acre show at the Civic Center with 150,000 people, and moving to the convention center now has 250,000 people. It's international, and it provides about $1 million every year for the Philadelphia Green Program. We started with vacant lots and working with people to transform vacant lots into gardens, and here is Las Parcelas in the Norris Square neighborhood in North Philadelphia, or Aspen Farms in West Philadelphia, one of the stunning accomplishments of communities working together. And many of these gardens, now almost 50, grow food, working with the Philadelphia prison system with prisoners and also with a food cupboard to supply food for the hungry in Philadelphia. Trees were mentioned, and Yolanda mentioned our work with Tree Vitalize, with the governor's program with DCNR, and working with the city and Morris Arboretum and many other partners. 140,000 trees have been planted since 2004, many in the city, but also many in our counties in southeast Pennsylvania, and also on to stabilize riparian buffer zones. We have 3,600 tree tenders, not only in Philadelphia, now not only in the region, but also statewide. We have Pittsburgh, Erie, Scranton, and the tree tender program is now all over our state. Our Parks Revitalization Project started in the early 90s, now works with over 100 parks to transform formerly derelict parks into places now that are the living rooms of the community. And now we're also working with the Philadelphia Water Department. Howard Newkrug is here, and Joanne Dahm, to begin to use parks and vacant land for green solutions for stormwater management. You heard about their vacant land management program. Look at these transformations. Now 10 million square feet of formerly vacant land is now cleaned and greened, which begins to have neighborhoods look better, encourage investment, and change the way people feel about their neighborhoods. And as part of this, we have over 100 residents working. Many of them are formerly homeless or drug-addicted men mostly, earning a wage to do this work throughout the community. It's wonderful to see all this kind of work come together, and some of the terrific projects like the work in APM, which is the Association of Puerto Ricans on the March in North Philadelphia East Abroad, and also New Kensington and several other neighborhoods begins to show the power of greening on a large scale. The public landscapes that were talked about are transformational. Look at Columbus Boulevard after we worked with the former Penn Landing Corporation and PennDOT to make that a beautiful thoroughfare. Or Logan's, the fountain in Logan Circle, which was derelict and now has been restored to a jewel for Philadelphia. And my favorite, the 26th Street Gateway, which takes a post-industrial wasteland and makes it into a welcoming entrance to the city. So one of the very best things we can do at PHS is acknowledge people who are successful. We have our City Gardens contest for people in the city, and we have the Community Greening Award for people across Pennsylvania and southern Jersey, and also the state of Delaware. And finally, at this point, we have a relationship now with Keep America Beautiful, where we're working with their 500 affiliates across the nation to start to use greening as a development tool. Recently, we've been working with Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati, to name a few, to try to get them to understand how greening can actually begin to turn their community around. So that's what we think, what we feel has been our legacy, if you will, and we appreciate the acknowledgement from the Pennsylvania Environmental Council and the gift which will go to Legacy Landscapes. I just want to acknowledge in the audience, we have the new president of PHS, Drew Becker. Drew, you want to stand up and say great? We have our members of our tremendous staff, Joan Riley, Amanda Benner, and Joe Soprati. We have the chairman of our board, John Ball, and also a member of our council, Pat Smith, who also worked with us on the vacant land work. Community leader Sharon Turner, Iris Brown, Thomasita Romero, and my partner Rick Spitzborg.